It's like a complete, you're never going to get it because you are it. Yeah. It's beautiful. So all of this hope dangling our interest and intention and straight and you know, pulling it in time, get cut. Yeah. Cut. And now you are awake to being awake instead of asleep to being awake. Yeah. The awakeness is a fact, but here you can seem to be asleep to it, or you can seem to be awake to it. Yeah. If you're awake, I feel the traveling lighter has much firmer footing when you're awake to being awake. Yeah. When you're seemingly asleep to being awake, you may be pursuing a condition that you already are. Yeah. Yes. Which, what does that do? You think it's reinforcing the condition you're looking for, but it's actually reinforcing a condition that's the denial of your nature. Yes? Like that statement in the Course. I only remember a few. So the idea of actively denying what we are, not one of us believe or would describe this moment as an act of denial of what we are. But in fact, if you like the Course in Miracles, it seems to see it that way. And it says there's an active denial of what we are and firm in faith in this something else that I believe the head has made to be us. Yes? Wow. That's the essence of duality. Yeah. Active denial, firm in faith. Yeah. There cannot be an act of denial without another movement. And there cannot, yes. And the firm in faith in that something else that we made ourselves is definitely going to be used to deny what we are. It's not going to reinforce it. It's not going to make it better. It's not going to show you some extras that will fit in what you are. No, it's either what you're not or what you are. As Jesus said, you can't serve two masters at the same time. Yeah. So either there's an obsession with that which is used as the active denial of what you are, or there's a relief from that, and now you're firm in faith, not in this something else the head has made you to be you, but you're firm in faith that you're not that. Yes. This doesn't need another that to have faith in. It's a negation of the faith in that. And you're not that. I don't believe because you are what you're looking for, it doesn't need a name or a form. You're it. Yeah. More as a presence than as a thing. So there's a firm in faith that you're not that which is the active denial of what you are. And it doesn't mean you're going to become a bigger, better that. It's you're not that. And you're not of that. Yeah. Really. Yeah. So it's one movement. So the duality is the active denial of what you are, firm in faith in what you're not. Something that's non-dual is recognizing what you're not. You're not recognizing another thing called you. There's not a you, a new you. You're not a you. Yeah. So it's just a singular whap, and then the recoil isn't there, and it's space. Yeah. So now you're in something that's not duality. Get a taste of it. See what happens. Yeah. You may be able to recognize it when you notice the duality of things. Yeah. The notice of duality of things may not be so much about the duality. It may infer there's an opposite of that, or there's another aspect of that that's recognizing the duality. That's not dual. Yes? Yes? For you to see a system from outside of it, you can't be of the system. So in this system, there's always this and that. So firm in faith in this something else is an act of denial of what I am. Not one person right now would say I'm in an act of denial of what I am. We wouldn't. We only recognize usually only one movement out of the two movements. So look at most people. they have a very big story of what they're drawn towards, but they don't know what they're trying to get away from. Yeah. So there's an awareness that it is in conjunction with the being drawn towards. There's another being
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Good morning. Top of the morning to me out here in the District 13, Taiwan. NBC The Game Live. I'm your host, Gabriel. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're gonna we'll get a bit personal. Today's topic is it's a BLASIan summer. Yeah. What's up, Arpool? Good to see you. I know, man. Asian girls everywhere. UCLA. Yeah. What's it really like being mixed in Taiwan and Japan? What's really going on with that and involving your consciousness? So yeah, man. Good evening, Shadow Buddha, my brother. Good to see you, man. Math and Science God. How's it going, man? Yeah, the Andrew Wilson, that Fatty taking Team Fatty taking it to Andrew Wilson. That was good. I mean, Fatty had a good point. I mean, he's spurring a bit. That's how he do, right? He was spurring a bit, but however, it's a good argument. Porn keeps a lot of people from really acting a fool and doing things that are way out of pocket or illegal, you know. And Andrew was right in a sense when he said, just don't listen to it and just don't watch it. Easier said than done for the majority of the 85% of the deaf, dumb, and blind. Well, I mean, matter of fact, if he's willing to say that, let's check his search history, man. See if the hub is up in there, or you know, shit. That'd be funny if he has some OnlyFans thoughts on there. Yeah, my brother. What's up, Wheels? How you going, my friend? Yeah, man. Thanks for asking, man. Wheels, like that'd be cool to ride shotgun with you. Co-host a 4th of July stream. Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, hit me up and DM more about that. But yeah, appreciate you. Yeah, so welcome back, everybody. Yeah, let's break down what it's like being mixed race while living in places like Taiwan and Japan or the wilderness of North America. I think we can go over the benefits and the obstacles of it and why it's one of the wildest growth journeys I've been on. And plus, I found this documentary. I can't believe I never heard of it before, but it's HBO documentary called 1000% Me Growing Up Mixed. And the clips I've seen of it, it hits different, man. It hits home because in a big way, especially raising my own mixed son here in Taiwan. So we can go over that. Do the math on that. Yeah, horse wheels. And of course, I'm gonna tie all this back to consciousness, huh? Because it just ain't about the skin color. It's about what's within, the inner standing, right? It's about identity becoming a whole. So let's get into it. Um, yeah, my story real quick. Quick breakdown for those who don't know. My father has um, ancestry from Senegal and Mali, West Africa, right? He ended up in Swaziland, which is in East Africa, Southeast Africa, somehow before he came to America. I met my mom, but yeah, so I definitely have that. Most of my blood, well, yeah, a little bit more than half is from Senegal and Mali, and then on my mom's side, I have the Mexican, a little bit, but mostly Spanish blood from the Basque Country, and Scotch Irish blood as well. So basically, I'm like that DNA test where the results confuse everybody on Thanksgiving. Yeah, Miss NPC, she got me this DNA testing a few Christmases ago, a couple years back, as a Christmas gift, because she knows how that stuff interests me and whatnot. I know. I remember I was like, "Damn, man." We heard the paranoid awareness conspiracy theories of these companies stealing your DNA and giving it away, selling it to other places, or doing nefarious things with it. Yeah, maybe they do. I mean, people do nefarious things with all their haktus and all that shit, huh? Maybe they do, but I thought it was interesting because who knows? Who knows? Maybe they're just making up shit. The scientists, engineers over there at 23andMe, they were on a week ago, they were on a trial, or you know, uh, they went up to Congress. The CEO was talking about how he sold this, the DNA information to different companies. Who knows? Maybe they make up the stuff too. But regardless of the fact, just like astrology and other divination tools, it gives you kind of a framework to work with. Because in the end, it doesn't matter. I think what your DNA is, uh, to a certain extent. I mean, I think we're all human, right? Right. However, it does. Once you know that, you can have fun with the DNA and the cultural programmings and see what fits you and go from there. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot. Shout out to Ben. I think you're asleep right now. It's almost 7:30, the God hour. It's the last week of school, but it's Saturday. So you earn sleeping in a bit. Normally we'd be going to school right now, right? I got one more week left. I just did my the first half of my grades, which feels good. And we got the writing, the writing classes in a little while. So here we are at this time and place, and here's the thing: being mixed anywhere is a journey, but being mixed in Asia, that's the next identity exploration, right? And I think, like most people, for all intents and purposes, pretty much everyone's mixed on the planet. Even if you say you're like this pure um, Irish or Ghanaian or whatever, if you're not mixed by your blood somehow with your genetics, you're mixed with your programming that you're running. I'm just doing it in the context of race, constructed race and ethnicity. Yeah, sweet dreams, little Ben. I like that. Sweet dreams, little Ben. And we don't always want to listen to Ben. We don't want to be that guy, right? We don't want to be that guy.
Stop like always blaming someone. Stop, like always blaming someone.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy, right? So there are benefits being mixed in Taiwan and Japan and Asia. So here's the good stuff about it is that number one, there's instant curiosity and connection you make with people. People want to know where you're from and what you're about. And in Taiwan, people are usually really friendly and curious. Like, whoa, where's your family from? And kids, they stare at you too. They may even laugh. So you got to get over that. I had to like reboot my programming and take out things that weren't serving me because there were times when kids would be staring at me. I always want to be like, "F you, kid," even though it's a kid, and people staring at you when you're walking down the street, old people. But it's because they're curious, and kids especially, they want to know more when they see someone who looks different, quote unquote different. And it definitely has started cool conversations too when I've had time to engage with them. And that's probably why the real reason why we're here is to engage. We could be in a mountaintop in Nepal meditating for all sentient beings, but we're here now in a walking meditation. And also too, another cool thing about being mixed in Taiwan or anywhere, especially Taiwan and Japan, you kind of become a cultural bridge. And I found myself translating more than just language. I'm literally explaining the food and the family dynamics and the slang and music of it all, of this unique experience that I have. And it actually helps develop empathy because you're constantly standing between two worlds. We got any mixed people in the chat? And people have any mixed people in your family? I'm sure the Buddha's up in there. The Latino Anglo-Saxon, right? A cool thing about it too is flexibility. The third thing, because when you're mixed, you don't feel boxed in by one culture. You start to realize that wait, I can choose what I want from each of these cultures and build my own identity. That's real freedom right there. You know, it's real freedom. But there are obstacles of being mixed race in Asia. Let's see what some of this. This is a cool video we saw that we're gonna go over. Being mixed race in Japan. What is this? Asians versus Blasians.
I do think that the experience of racism is probably a little bit worse for Blasian half-Louis.
But like they said, they used to think like I was a drug dealer.
I would assume that too, that the Blasians racism is a little bit more because the genetics of the melanated people, original people, as you say, some people say the black people are a lot stronger and override the Asian gene genetics. And the Asians mix in pretty good with the whatchamacallit, with the white, genetics, quote unquote white genetics, European genetics. Look at my son, man. Because of all that, like I said, Spanish and Basque and Scotch Irish blood I have on top of the African blood of Mali and Senegal. My son looks, he looks a little different now, but it looks very Asian right there. He could pass for a Asian, right? Ben Can right there. I myself, yeah. When the world looks at me, they probably see first off a black man with interesting features.
bit worse for Malaysian half-foods.
But like they said, they used to think like I was a drug dealer.
This
His eyes.
is me. I am what Japanese people call a hafu, the Japanese term for mixed race people. As a Japanese Nigerian growing up in Japan, I was a constant outlier in a country that is 96% ethnically
Nigeria,
Japanese. Mixed race people like me are often labeled as not real Japanese, with even the term hafu originating from the idea that mixed race
Yeah, there's Naomi. Is that her name? Yeah, she's Haitian and Japanese, Haitian American and Japanese. Wimbledon champion.
people are only half of a proper full Japanese person. So today, I invited the two most common groups of mixed race people in Japan, Asians and Blasians, to see what they think about the mixed race experience in Japan and what common ground they have as the 2% minority.
I identify as Japanese.
Everyone. Except one person. Okay. That doesn't mean they. That's the thing about. I mean, you can be whatever, as we see in this world with gender. You can identify as whatever you want. So just because they say they're Japanese doesn't mean they don't identify as quote unquote black or American or wherever they're from.
All right. Well, first off, I got 2 passports, so I'm both. I spent as much time in Japan as I did in the States as well, and that's why earlier when I introduced myself, I didn't say I was half this, half that. I'm both. You know.
Yeah, there you go. I'm both. That's an interesting concept I learned recently. That's the thing about the internet is cool because you have these ways where you can find a uncommon commonality with people that you never had before. And when you have that, you have language. You learn language from other people. I like how he said that. I'm not half. I'm both. I remember my grandma used to call me a halfer. Not in a mean way. She did it in a cute way, like we had some superpower.
Even if I wasn't raised the way I was raised, you know, you can't tell me like I'm only half this. That feels weird. That feels like really inhuman. You feel me?
Well, I said yes because one, I was born here. I lived here for 7 years. I do represent Japan, my country, for fencing.
Flex.
So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I do have to say I feel Japanese in that way.
You're a Nihonjin, bro.
Yeah.
Nihonjin da yo.
Nihonjin desu.
Nihonjin da yo.
I also identify as Japanese, but I
Half Canadian TV presenter. Japanese. Yeah, she looks like a baddie. They kind of look like those people that are Shadow from Kazakhstan and Eurasia, where Asia and Europe meet.
I definitely identify as both
Siberia.
Japanese and Canadian. I think this is a pretty important point because I feel like both of those cultures are like equally within me. So it'd be weird for me to say that I don't identify as Japanese. I definitely identify as both. And I did grow up in Canada. So when I was in Canada, I think my Canadian identity was way stronger. But I've lived in Japan for over 10 years now. So I feel a lot more like a local and I feel more in touch with my Japanese roots. So yeah, definitely also Japanese now.
I also agree a lot with her. I identify as American and Japanese. My household was really Japanese thanks to
There she is.
my mom with cooking and culture. And I would come to Japan every summer. That helped me get close to my Japanese roots. And now
Kind of like people not even like or this quote unquote half per se, but like my wife, she's born in Taiwan, but then grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then in the summertime she come back to Taiwan. So there is a dichotomy there as well. Right? There is a dichotomy there. And most of the time we just see ourselves as, you know, I'm just Gabriel, right? Or I'm Rebecca. But people tend to put their labels on us, and especially when you're younger, that's how you kind of find out about who you are, about how they right or wrong. That's how they label you and refer to you and how they see you. Even though you might not take their categories and characteristics too seriously, you keep hearing those over and over again, and then you start to identify with it sometimes. And then, similar to a rising sign in astrology, where your rising sign is just your persona and how people see you. And this is how we form our personality, especially when we're younger. But the persona is is over your core personality of your sun sign. You know, people in the chat, you don't. What is your thoughts on mixed people and or just being different cultures coming together and whatnot, or being an outsider somewhere? Yeah, let me know. Wheels says I got the Irish, Scottish, English, German, and Welsh in my DNA. Yeah, that's a big mix right there. Irish, Scottish. Trying to think. Wish you can come up here, but Buddha, we've been talking about how a lot of white Americans, they don't know they're not in touch with their European side. You know, those like how Wheels can say that, you know, what her DNA is, her heritage. And a lot of white Americans aren't in touch with their culture. So it's like many Americans nowadays, even not just white. So maybe that's why they latch on to different things, like I don't know, MAGA or the opposite, extreme progressiveness, and identify like that, you know. So because there's not a push, unless you're like Italian. That's one example I see. Italian Americans who hold on to a lot of them, not all, but hold on to their cultural roots from the old country, even though they're in America. All right. But other than that, unless you're first generation or second generation, a lot of people lose ties with their European roots and whatnot. You said you would love to pursue my European roots. Yeah, well, you just said it right there. You got Irish, Scottish, English, German. All you got. Well, a good start is to download, watch all the videos you can on that stuff. The history of it, the history of it. That's why I did a history record for Taiwan for Ben, and then like read up on it. Maybe if they have organizations, you could like meetups or something. I don't know, you can do that, but I would say like find out as much as you can on the research tip, learning tip about that type of stuff. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spoiler alert. I'm going to go over my DNA chart and look into the histories of all the 8 different locations around the earth that I have matches. That's part of my DNA makeup. So I think that's a good way and an easy way to start, and a fun way as well. And you're teaching other people about it, just like all this what we're doing here. It doesn't matter if you're mixed or not, or we're talking about Scorpio Mars. If you have that, you can learn about other people that you network with in the community. It just gives you more content to talk about with them. You know, you grow as a human being under this one meta narrative that we all have. Yeah, research. That's it. That's what we're doing right now. So this is we're researching what it's like for these quote unquote mixed people.
Living here, a lot of people see me as Japanese too, so I think that's reinforced my Japanese identity.
I said yes, and let me speak in Japanese. 私はナイジェリアと日本のハーフなんですけど、完全に日本で育ちました。なので海外で育った経験はない。
Yeah, she looks exotic, but more African. But it's very unique.
です。なので完全にもう私のアイデンティティはもう日本人だし、普通のインターナショナルとかじゃなくて、普通の幼稚園、小学校、高校、大学、全部もうローカルな日本人の子と一緒に育ったので、完全に私の価値観とか、私の食の好みとか、エデュケーションも全部日本人です。はい。
So I said yes because, I'm Ghanaian Japanese. I'm definitely both. So I grew up in Ghana.
Look at his eyes. Yeah, very Japanese.
So I never really lived in Japan, but I came every summer like you, we have family. And like family is one way you can really feel that you're connected.
So I think I took your statement literally. So I agree with actually what she was saying a lot. So I think I identify as Japanese and Ghanaian. So if it's just Japanese in the sentence, it's hard for me to come forward. if that makes sense. But I definitely identify with both parts.
Identify. Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Right, that's such a hard question.
Yeah, it's a hard. What do you identify? So,
Japan is racist. 2, 1.
I feel bad to say it, but I can't. Yeah.
You guys tell me why you think Japan is racist?
It's hard to say racist, but they definitely treat you differently if you like speak Japanese or not. Like they don't think I speak Japanese, so
yeah, don't treat me differently either. Feel free to donate. It's always encouraged. Appreciate it.
Why don't you just take my blood?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I feel bad to say it, but I can't. Yeah.
You guys tell me why you think Japan.
Why do you think Japan's like? Will says, my dream is to travel Europe and research my genealogy in person. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I want to search the world and go all the places and beyond where my DNA shows up too. But like I said, however, studying before is a way to already get there already. You know, if you seriously want to do that, how easy is it to just just marathon videos of what's life like in these countries and currently in the history and the food and all that. Like, very easy to do. I'm telling myself that, Wheels, too. Very easy to do and beneficial. Like, I would tell anyone that moves to another country, if English is not the language, the first language, learn the language before you come here. You know, at least start. And part of learning the language is learning the history.
Japan is racist?
it's hard to say racist, but they definitely treat you differently if you like speak Japanese or not. Like they don't think I speak Japanese, so initial interaction will be English. But then if I speak Japanese to them back, they kind of open.
It's hard to say racist. I mean, yeah, there's anything bigoted, right? Excluding someone and subjugating them and talking bad about them. Yeah, Japan is for sure. Taiwan, some people, yeah, probably. Everywhere you go, right? Everywhere you go.
It opens a gate, like they'll treat me better, especially at restaurants. They'll give me better service.
Japanese only. We don't allow customers from overseas to enter. This is because a lot of this is, well, some of it was because of the Chinese tourists were being super rude, right? And that's not a racist thing. That's a bigotry thing because technically Asians and Japanese are the same race, yellow, even though they don't use that term. Interesting enough, black and white are the only ones that really use those terms. And I believe that that's there to keep people in that race dynamic, you know, and that dichotomy.
Way. Some instances, restaurants have different menus. Give you an English menu, which is very limited.
Did they give you English menu?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I'll respond in Japanese, and they're like, "Never mind." Give you so there's that. Yeah, there's that kind of situation.
Yes, there are a lot of times where you can experience racism here.
Have you faced any?
Me? Oh, like. For example, in my old company, I don't know if I'll call it racism, like, you know, you guys
say
can.
names too.
So there's times where like there's stereotypes that people, they put onto you. Like when I first moved into my apartment and I bought like a hibiscus plant, my next door neighbor, who now we've become really good friends, you know, but like they said, they used to think like I was a drug dealer when I moved in next door, for example, right? Because it's like, it's like.
Well, I didn't think he was a drug dealer. Yeah. Oh, because he's black. Well, I get it. The other guy I would say looks like more of a drug dealer.
It's a hibiscus.
Definitely a drug user.
Oh, it's flowers and stuff like that. But then they're like, like in my corporate, like they've said things like you look like a mafia tokasa. You look like like you're not kind of meet at a kawaii type stuff. I have plants in my house, so they're looking at the plants. They're like for sure, there are some things are charged. Like kids are ruthless, I think.
Yeah, kids are ruthless, man. It's some weird shit. You can't. You show them a African dancing or something, and they just right away they're just like, look how black he is. It's like, damn, bro. You get it.
Here you grew up here. Yeah. I think like when people grow up, then they have a sensor a little bit, you know. But kids, they say some crazy shit. Maybe they're fucking you know. It's over.
Kids are dickheads.
They're fucking. When you're a kid, you know, you experience racism, but as an adult, it's more so like kind of like microaggressions, like low implicit bias. Like they might not mean to be racist, but they still do it. For example, I went to a karaoke spot and I was like asking for a room, and they just automatically was like Nihongo Jozu, even though they didn't hear me speak English to begin with. How do you know?
How you know that my Japanese is good? Yeah.
Oh, that my Japanese is good. You don't even know if I speak another language.
And bro, like I've been watching this crazy stuff, Wheels, and people in the chat watching, where there are people who were literally from Italy and they were raised in China. I mean, they're from Italy, Italian blood, raised in China, and full-blown Italian DNA, raised in China their whole life, and they're basically a Chinese person programming, right? Meaning like the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they eat, the way they everything they about them, the way they think. Yet they look like an Italian man. Or even shit, they even start looking Chinese even. And so you never know now, especially nowadays, like if somebody is this is their home. You can't assume, man. I mean, you can assume, but know that you may be wrong. I speak English freely a lot of times, especially if I want to say something I think people won't hear. But then again, you never know. You never know, right? Streets is watching. Streets is watching. I like this guy right here. He's cool. I already knew he'd be cool. Looking like a Japanese, a BLASIAN XXX Extension. Rest in peace.
Whatever. Yeah, it's pretty common to hear, and especially from strangers.
Did you like experience any discrimination in your childhood?
Did you? I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah, of course, bro. I got jumped a lot.
You got jumped?
I got jumped, bro. It was a team effort.
Oh yeah.
They were organized.
So you grew up in Japan as a kid?
Yeah. It's not like in the movies where, you know, you somehow miraculously beat up the two kids, and then they're like, "Oh, I respect you, man." They come back in threes until you eventually lose. You feel me?
I do think that the experience of racism is probably a little bit worse for Blasian Hafus than like Asian, like white Hafus, because I think people tend to judge a little bit more strongly that you're foreign, like based on your skin color.
Yeah, because they whatchamacallit, they judge each other on their skin color as Japanese and Taiwanese. I mean, oh, you're dark.
I knew one white and Japanese Hafu who grew up in Japan. Most shocking story I ever heard. She said that some kids put staples in her sandwich, like at lunch.
Oh my god.
Staples.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's pretty fucked up. I don't like that. That's nasty work. Yeah, but there are obstacles being mixed race in Asia, like the gentleman said. Like that young G said, the microaggressions for sure, and the stereotypes. It's like someone says, like, "Oh wow, you're handsome for a foreigner." Your kid's so cute, looks like a model, right? I mean, those are cool things to say for sure. I don't take it too offense with it, but it's kind of it's funny how they pick up on that stuff. It is a compliment. It sounds like a compliment, but sometimes it's not about who you are, or just that you look different, right? But I take aesthetics. I think aesthetics are important though, for sure. But there's that outsider feeling too. No matter how long you live in a place, sometimes you still get the where you're really from question. You know, and your identity can feel like it was always on display, always having to explain yourself. But here's the thing: you don't have to explain yourself. That's a luxury that you have. You don't have to explain yourself if you don't want to. You know, and there could be identity crisis moments too, like when, especially when you're raising a mixed children. Sometimes we don't know. I remember growing up, like the box, they have the other box, right? Black, white, right? I wanted to just check them all. Check them all. I think I did a lot of times. My son never asked me about like, am I Taiwanese or America? He never said anything like that. He knows he's both. Just like, we're everything: Black, Latino, Anglo-Saxon. Now Asian and whatnot. There's an interesting in South
Maybe.
Africa. They got
like
straight to
a
the point. They have a whole official demographic for people called colored, I think they say, right? Colored people. Here we go.
You'll go nowhere if you just for one race. Colored people, and it's so easy just to say, yeah, colored people think they're white. I was racist at the time when I said that.
That's why apartheid ended. It's not a sustainable model.
It's not sustainable. So if we want to be sustainable, we are doing no different what the ANC and the DA has done to our people.
South Africa, huh?
Colored people, and it's so easy just to say, yeah, colored people think they're white. It goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets that. What you just mentioned, I can go on with it list. The first person was, when apartheid was Jim was hanging people, they hang Frank Rivers. Didn't say you are colored, we can't hang you.
Yeah.
The first MK soldier to die in battle is Basil February, was a colored male. I was racist.
Colored means, that's what they say in South Africa, someone who's mixed. That's what that means.
Hi, my name is Kelly Eve. And I'm Sarah. And we are about to go on a journey to figure out our own heritage. We're doing 1,000-kilometer walk
Baddies.
from Fort Beaufort in the Eastern Cape to the castle in Cape Town. And we're going to be guided by this really powerful group of Indigenous rights advocates. Because that's what the walk's all about. It's about Indigenous rights and heritage and culture. But obviously for us to take on a journey like this is quite an introspective experience. And so we have to kind of figure out what is our identity that we occupy in Cape Town as colored people. So we asked a bunch of people that we think are really cool and that we look up to. And we basically asked them, what is a colored person? What's a colored person?
Baddies, huh? Arctic Timberwolf.
I'm quite reluctant to use that term mixed because it implies that other races are pure.
I am mixed race.
Xhosa isn't anything pure. There's also been a lot of mixing going on there. The same with white people in this country.
Yeah, that's what she's saying about mix. They're like Wheels is mixed in terms of like German, Irish, all the different heritages and stuff. But in terms of race, that seems to be a word we use colloquially. These are people who are of mixed race in South Africa. They call them colored.
I think most people, when they look at me, they automatically want to know what am I, or who am I, or where am I from.
Like, I almost feel embarrassed to say that for the longest time, I did not want to be associated with that term, being colored, because the term was given to us.
Wat is colored? Dat sê nie waar jy vandaan afkom nie. Dit sê nie wie jou mense is ook nie. Wat verwyder al die geskiedenis van jou, want hy's redig also wel.
When I talk about a Cape color, I'm talking more of an attitude than the color of my skin. So yes, I am a Cape colored.
I used to call myself so-called colored back in the day.
But I think for me, it's become rather important to identify as colored, and also in a sense as a Cape Muslim, whatever that may mean.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like growing up, everyone saw me black, so I'm quote unquote black, original person and whatnot. But as I get older, dude, it's like you can't deny the other parts of you, that make you up the beautiful cultures, the high powered cultures, man. So we're all of the above.
I come from
We're in the all of the above sector.
the era where we talked about so-called coloreds and we put it in inverted commas because I rail against that title that was given.
It annoys me when prominent colored figures.
There she is. What's up, Oracle? Thank you. Raheem's Alexander. Yo, I'm at the gym, but listening. Cool topic. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you for tapping in. Get that level up in the gym, physicality. In a Taurus mood today. That's why you look so cool today, Whenever the moon's in your sign, you look even cooler to everyone else because you're used to the vibe. That Taurus vibe, aesthetics, and being cozy and comfortable, but also getting it done and producing. What's up, Weekend? How you doing, my love? Good to see you.
Shy away from the term.
And I'm like, I'm okay with being colored because I mean that's what I've been called all my life.
I think we're just like a mixed breedy of everything that's happened, and you like the special pot at the end of it all.
Yep,
It's
the
good.
single package.
It's nice because you do everything in.
And I go to places like Oudtshoorn, and those people are colored over there, and there's a relationship that I have with those people. I can see that there are certain things that we have and things that we say that they also say.
I don't believe that it's a homogenous group. So I feel like, the term colored for me feels like an erasure of multiplicity of identities, of many identities.
Many identities.
And that's a problem. It's a real problem. So buying into this colored idea also buys into the hierarchy and says like, I'm not black. I'm actually better than that. Although I can tell that I'm not white and
That's true, huh? Because I heard Andrew Tate say it earlier in the year in his tweet about I'm a hybrid. I could be, I want to wake up white. I can be, quote unquote, run the white program. If I'm black, I want the black program till the wheels come off. It's code switching, channel surfing, and in a sense, I can see how one could feel superior to all of these because you transcend all those things.
white person probably still sees me as a kafir.
There's a sense of not really knowing.
It's a bad name in Australia.
Our history is
in
what
South
our
Africa.
background is.
I don't think that the media is doing enough to give us examples of ourselves.
Us colored. The media is not, but this media is. The mainstream media is not. Like I love how these folks really they live it. They live this whole thing. It's like not talked about in America, really. You feel alone and shit. I mean, I'm not gonna go cry about or anything, but like you feel it would be nice. I'm saying to have these discussions. But here's the thing: in South Africa, this was forced upon him by the apartheid regime, which is very draconian and subjugated people and brutalized people because of their quote unquote skin color, their racial background. So these people went through it, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's why they're so fascinating. Why their ideas and stuff. Plus, they're beautiful too. Hank says, "What's up, Hank?" He said, "I don't watch mainstream media." Okay, that's one thing that's good. Yeah, I as a commentator, I do watch mainstream media from time to time, and sometimes as a joke too, right? Because it's kind of silly, but other times too, they do get the story right every now and then, and it's as someone who monitors the 85% that considers them a 5%er, you gotta be like the 10%ers and take it all in sometimes in order to see what's really going on.
Folk or koi or whatever
were the people in the Cape Province.
We should claim ownership of the fact that we were original peoples of the southern Africa.
Yeah, original people, right? When we say original people, we mean quote unquote what you would call a black person, the maker, the creator of the civilization, right? First people on Earth and whatnot.
And that's who we are. We're original people, you know.
Maar ze kunnen die claim die is diep terug te wat en sê, okay, ek is 'n colored.
You can
Define
Afrikaners?
wat is colored vir jou.
Define what is colored for you. Okay, I like that. I'm geeking off that. That was dope. JJ says, why don't you do videos on back on Fig or no jumper new jumper verse? Well, I did quite a few videos on that. Like, look, why don't I do any more? You mean? Yeah, because I just good question. Because this channel, this sounds like somebody that's been around here for a minute. This channel was started off as an experiment to see like how many points or views we can rack up. You know, covering no jumper news in the universe and some other interesting content, like edgy content. But now I just morphed into my live streaming channel, my main channel, Book of Gabriel. I got suspended for a minute, for a couple weeks or something, so I just started live streaming from here, and then this is what it became, right? You know, I'll show you guys like this. Yeah, most of my old videos are all no jumper shit videos. I used to be one of the top Redditors in the no jumper subreddit before I got kicked out. Before they banned me. Okay. Well, so see, these are the type of videos I used to have on my channel. No jumper videos. Can you see? Oh, you can't even see it. Can you see it? Oh shit, I don't even have it. Yeah. You mean videos like this, like I used to have? Those were fun. Yeah, like this one.
Chalk it up. I used to do 10 months at Harvard. I did like 8 grams of bloat. I don't even want to tell y'all because it's like it was like 7 grams or 8. It was a lot of blow. And I would just be by myself jerking off to the point where I would have to like jerk off around the sores on my dick. It was like,
oh god, it's disgusting.
It was so good just a week ago. I'm on my way back to the dentist.
Yeah, that was the original mascot for NPC the Game channel. What was her name? She has autism. That Barney character.
Jerk off.
Riff. That's it.
Under the sores on my dick. It was like,
it was so like, what was it? 2023. You know who that is if you were in the No Jumper subreddit. Whenever you see this riff, you knew some crazy shit was about to go down. Yeah, they banned me on some shit, right? I think I did a video about. I'll try to be funny. Why Adam 22 is part of the CIA in Diddy freak offs or something like that. Something stupid like that. And I guess Josh, Adam's brother-in-law or ex-brother-in-law, he didn't like it, and they banned me from that shit. Even though I have millions of views in that bitch right there. Yeah, you should keep making them. It's a huge missing space that no one's talking about. Yeah, I appreciate that, JJ. Yeah, my partner, Big. Shit, it's been so long. Fuck the cancer homie, yeah. Where is he at, man? Well, yeah, we started to like just bombard that place with our coverage and whatnot. Other people were doing it, but like I think we were passionate about it, and with between his editing skills and my editing skills and our sense of humor and our passion for the No Jumper universe, that shit was crazy. It's like the split.
so good just a week ago. I'm on my way back to the dentist because when your teeth are this up, you back to back like a Drake diss track.
You feel Lush.
Any day of
It's when Lush got kicked out of he got fired from No Jumper right? And he was on the Lush World podcast. I think he still has it. I don't know. When he was supposedly was sober.
You have a whole dental team on your.
Yeah, you feel me?
What happened, by the way?
I got so excited reliving my no jumper years that I kicked this shit out. Kicked myself off. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I think not that I owe it to anybody, but I'll give you what you want, Jay. I'll get back on that tip. Yeah, because that was a fun part of my life right there. A no jumper universe. Well, back to this though, this mixed race stuff. This is Dr. Umar Johnson has very specific views on mixed race people.
Whenever I'm communicating or doing work with mixed race Africans, like I said, I accept them on the same par with the rest of us as long as they identify as Black or African first, with no need to deny their white mother or dad, but you an African. That's the way the world sees you. Genetically, that's what you are. Ancestrally, that's what you are.
It's true. Like I said, that the world sees you like your rising
as Black or African first, with no need to deny their white mother or dad, but you and
here he said, which was that he worded that differently than I thought he would. He said, no need to deny your mother or father. That's not Black, but you should identify, in his opinion, as a Black person first, African first.
African, that's the way the world sees you. Genetically, that's what you are. Ancestrally, that's what you are.
But you're also European too, or Asian too.
Or you need to identify with that. And when
you need to identify, he's saying you need to identify it. He says mixed race people who don't identify as Black have internalized racism.
I find that they can't. There's normally some degree of internalized racism.
Well, I would call you a racist too, Dr. Umar, in the sense you're fascinated by the study of race. Like my brother Ali says, a true racist is someone who is fascinated with this. One is proficient in the study of race, and that's definitely Dr. Umar's MO. And I have to say, it's interesting to see him trying to get at white women and at the mall, talking that shit,
operating within their thinking.
Yes, lick his lips. That's the tell of his contempt, or the tell of some of his bullshit happening. Like when a dog is nervous and they lick their lips. What's going on? Divine Sparks 313. How's it going, my friend? Greetings, NPC in the chat. Yeah, good to have you. Good to have you. Yeah, and everyone, JJ, anyone else, donations are always welcome.
Why don't you just take my blood?
Divine Sparks says, listening the other night, it was a great. Hey, appreciate that. I love it. You guys are great. You're like, oh yeah, I was listening after. Under the Scorpio lit, Scott Sally Fields. I was like, you like me? You really like me? Oh. Always a pleasure. Yeah, lovely lady. I love it. The chat fellowshipping. So that was Dr. Omar's view. Now, this is the direct opposite. I found this man's channel recently, the Mulatto Network. And remember, a mulatto was a term we used to use for half horse, half donkey, which is a mule, a mulatto, right? He said, my apologies, I didn't chat. I was beat from my day. Yes, it's all good. That's why you're the hardest working woman in the metaverse, Sparks. Yeah, Spark 313, Heidi Divine, dude, appreciate you. Yeah, all we ask is you check in like that. Thank you for checking in. Look at this. Okay, so it says a mono-racist is a system of oppression that centers on the belief in a singular, discrete racial categories, impacting individuals who don't fit neatly into those categories, particular multiracial people. It manifests as both systematic and interpersonal discrimination, reinforcing the dominance of racial identities and marginalizing those who identify as multiracial. If anybody denies your mulatto identity, they are anti-mulatto racists. I guess you would consider Dr. Umar that.
Or a mulatto, specifically half white, half black, or any other. If you are a mulatto, specifically half white, half black, or any other kind of mix, understand if somebody puts you in the category of either white or black, they are a mono racist. They are practicing mono racism. You need to control the language. You need to create.
That's true. You have the power to define who you are and what you are.
Language.
I mean, to a certain extent, too. It is weird when people say they're a unicorn or something like that.
This is how you control the narrative. As mulattoes, you need to have a strong language book. So when these people attack you, you have a word for them. So create language, create acronyms, create codes. So that way we can properly identify people who are anti-mulatto, anti-mixed race people.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, Heidi. Check this out. What you said about your friend. We just saw that. I was like, damn. Looks like that girl from the movie Half Baked. Mary Jane. Where this video was cool. These South African, as they call them, colored people in South Africa. They're mixed, quote unquote, mixed race. Check out these women. They're beautiful. I wonder if your friend looks like this.
Hi, my name is Kelly Eve. And I'm Sarah. And we are about to go on a journey to figure out our own heritage.
Yeah.
We're doing a 1,000-kilometer walk from
I'm like, why didn't I ever go to South Africa?
Fort Beaufort in the Eastern Cape to the
Goddamn.
castle in Cape Town. And we're going to be guided by this really powerful group of Indigenous rights advocates. Because that's what walk's all about.
Damn. Okay. Exactly. Woo. And you hang out with them too. Well, that's like a look out. Be careful. Be careful. Don't be what they say. Oh, here they come. Watch out, boy. Watch out, boys. They'll chew you up. Heidi and the crew are man eaters. No. Yeah, look out, man. Look out. Yeah, phones do crazy stuff. We said much appreciated. My best friend is Otto, and she is the most beautiful thing in the world. One of them is just stunning. Otto. She said, laugh aloud. She can't walk in the room without everybody stopping and looking. Whoa. Damn. I'd be like, this is me when she walks in the room. Maybe to myself, because I'm a Scorpio, so I have to keep it in sometimes. But if I wanted her to hear, I would be like, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, so let's look at this couple more of this gentleman's video, the Mulatto Network. I think his take is interesting if you put it up against Umar Johnson. Yeah. Some of his videos.
People do not try to understand you purposely. You must walk away from those people. You must walk away from those people. This is the mulatto mindset. We're giving monoracial people an inside look on how mixed race mulattoes experience life.
I think a lot of people in the panel verse are like that too. I've heard a couple people say, "What do you choose? You have to choose one, black or white." Okay,
but these people,
I'll let you tell it.
Are doing nothing but dismissing us. Everything we say, every experience that we have, they dismiss it. They gaslight us. They tell us that this isn't true. They tell us that we're confused. They tell us that we're this, that. This is a sign of somebody who does not care about you. Notice how they never sit down and listen and actually have a conversation. They always use girl code, gaslight, insult, reject, and lie to you.
There you go. I'll say unbalanced girl code. Because for the most part, you women here are you're pretty copacetic and balanced. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's have a discussion on it. They're dropping the link 1 hour and 9 minutes in. You want to talk about it? What's your thoughts about this mixed race stuff? Right? Mm-hmm. Keep it on topic though. Everyone's more than welcome. Don't be scared. It ain't like we gonna fight or anything. I mean, let's build. Let's build.
Girl code. So just know that these people don't care about your mixed race experience. They don't care about your mulatto experience. They're just here to gatekeep and keep control over you and keep you without an identity.
I like that. Pretty interesting. Back to the Umar. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's go 1v1. Dr. Umar versus the Mulatto Network about race. Excuse me. Race mixing. Let's see what he has to say.
Why are black men so addicted to white women at a rate more than any other man in this country?
Can't answer that for you.
I can tell you, low fucking racial self-esteem.
And what I'm telling you is you are 1,000% wrong.
You're in denial, Ish.
I'm not. When you say that somebody is dating somebody because they have low self-esteem, you are basically saying that white people are better than we are. So when somebody says, yo, he only fuck with them because he hates himself.
Absolutely.
That means that you think that person thinks that white people are better than
you. Do.
I don't.
You wouldn't have been with him. There's more black women on the earth than any other population. You can get a black woman from Brazil. You can go to Jamaica. You can go to Canada. You can go to the indigenous Africans of Mexico. Black women, African women are the largest population. You can get a light skin sister. You can get a pina colada sister. You can get you an off-white sister. We got black women of every complexion. So if you need a pale queen, you could have got you a pale African queen.
But you I believe that in respect to Jonathan Major.
It's who you fall in love with. Yeah, you believe that, Chad? What do you think about that? Is it who you fall in love with? Is that what matters? Is that what really matters? What do you think?
For mulattoes. What's up, guys? Man, I'm at the History Museum right now in Malaysia. And I got to tell you, why don't they have a history museum for mulattoes in America? Why don't they have a history museum for the mulattoes in America? That's because we're not recognized as a national race. We should have a museum in the middle of Washington, D.C. That's why I'm renouncing my citizenship, man. Peace.
Oh, shit. Damn, that's pretty serious. Once you do that, it's hard to get it back. The brother feels very strongly on that. That's it. What else you got? What else you got, Umar? Let's see. In this cluttered house.
In our own land, we can establish our own agricultural system. We can farm. We can grow food to feed our own people. We can raise cattle. We can use the hide, the leather, the wool to make clothing for our own people. We can
Malcolm X's mom was mixed.
dig the clay from the earth.
Okay. Mulatto.
The family that once colonized over 75% of the African world? You mean to tell me the family that once codified blacks as animals, less than human beings? You're meaning to tell me the family that pillaged and robbed and raped South Africa, that pillaged and robbed and raped Ghana, that pillaged and robbed and raped Nigeria, that pillaged and robbed and raped Jamaica, that pillaged and robbed and raped Bermuda that pillaged and robbed and raped. Kenya that pillaged and robbed and raped. Egypt that pillaged and robbed and raped. Malawi that pillaged and robbed and raped.
Okay, Umar. Oh, this shit's funny. My nephew's mulatto. He has the most beautiful skin. Yeah. Like butter. Energy is not a color. Energy is not a color of your skin. It's your aura, the color. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Your nephew's probably interesting dude. Probably. Check this out. Omar talking about he don't like mixed race. He don't like race mixing. Let's see what we got with Dr. Umar doing.
They try to slander our brother over here.
Talk to him.
About what? Over the summer, I guess there was a video of you. I guess
at the Cherry Hill
tried
Mall.
to say you had, they tried to say you had jungle fever, Dr. Umar. Jungle fever in the mall.
Okay, let me tell you what happened.
I thought we talked to him about that already.
Somebody tried to hack my phone. An iPhone. It went out.
This is everything's related, everything's connected, right? In this universe, they always used to have that gay pride flag, strategically positioned. When my voice starts getting all mucusy up when we talk about race, because in the end, that shit don't matter. One on human race, right? When you have the gay pride flag always behind the guest. I always notice that, and I don't understand like someone like Umar wouldn't just take that took that down, especially the way how wild he talks about homosexuals and whatnot.
My phone never went out. I call iPhone. They say, okay, we have an appointment for you. I said, I'm in Philadelphia.
Apple, yeah.
Apple. Closest place, Cherry Hill Mall, Apple Store. No problem.
This man didn't know what the Apple Store was.
I ain't got no phone. I need my phone. I go to Cherry Hill
the
Mall.
whitest apple of all apples.
Yes, sir. So I go to Cherry Hill Mall. They working on my phone. It's taking forever for my appointment to come up. I said, let me find something to do. I go get me some suits. Go back, get the phone fixed. I'm on my way out the mall. I'm done. I see a stand in the middle with incense, oils, crystals. I'm into all that.
They try to.
What does that got to do with anything? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Divine Sparks 313 was a comment says black men have better physiques naturally. I'm just wondering because I never noticed. Yeah. I mean, Ice Cube, black men, yeah, as someone who, is original person, a black man, among other things. Yeah, we do have good natural physiques, right? What does Ice Cube say? In that one song, a Death Certificate, he said, and so do black women. He said, black women's got bodies like goddesses, sort of like Venus, so put away your penis. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, you would know. You've noticed. Come on. What? Why? Well, he would like my family when we're mixed nuts. Yeah, we're all mixed, huh? The whole world is. I'm sure his family is too. Maybe oils or hippie stuff. My thing is, like, I'm assuming now he was gonna say, like, I want to network with her, get some oils on wholesale, some natural oils and berries wholesale, incense. So I got her number. Strictly business, huh? Strictly business. But sometimes we mix business with pleasure. This was interesting about, like I said earlier in the broadcast, how my father's family has ancestry or from Senegal and Mali, which is West Africa. And I saw this video. I was like, maybe we are we're descendants of these people, because my father's family went from West Africa all the way down to Southeast Africa, to Swaziland, ended up there before he came to America. And so I saw this video and I was like, okay, we may have to do some more research. We may be kin to these people.
look so different from their neighbors? Their ancestors might have crossed the... Why do these West Africans look so different from their neighbors? Their ancestors might have crossed the Sahara Desert. Fulani people are spread across the Sahel region, with a population of over 40 million. They can be found in more than 15 African countries. But why do they stand out from other West Africans? They are known as Fula, Fulbi, or Pule in some areas. Most of them were nomadic cattle herders historically, who started moving south from present-day Senegal. Now their journey began over 1,000 years ago. Genetic studies have revealed their unique ancestry, as they have a significant North African input. This admixture ranges from 20 to 30%. So where did this mysterious DNA really come from? Their North African ancestry is of Berber origin, making them distinct from neighboring ethnic groups, while the rest is typical of West Africa. This mix explains their lighter features and unique appearance. Why do these...
Interesting. Want to go deeper with that? This is yeah, this documentary, I think it'd be interesting to show the trailer at least. It's called 1000% Me, Growing Up Mixed and Why It Matters. This is where that HBO documentary comes in. And if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch it. It's all about mixed kids explaining their experiences straight from their own mouths. So let's see. I think this guy has a YouTube channel that's popping too. The guy that made it. So it's called 1000% Me. Let's get after it.
I've never really.
Look at your nieces and nephew family when you see this and remind you of them. Reminds me of me.
I've never really had anyone ask me, what are you? Or like, what's your skin tone? If someone did ask me, I would probably say I'm mixed.
In South Africa, they would say colored.
I'm half Pakistani and I'm half African American. I'm
Ooh, interesting.
Asian and American.
Asian American, okay.
Filipino American.
Filipino and American. Does that mean like you're Anglo-Saxon?
Filipino American. Black and white.
Black and white.
Both. Half black and half Japanese. Filipino American. Black and white. And both. Half black and half Japanese. 1000% a person.
Do people
Black and half Japanese. 1000% a person.
Unique. Hear that.
do people ever confuse what your race is?
I get everything but what I am, pretty much.
Black and white.
Every single day.
You got two moms too?
Just because we live in a diverse community does not mean that racism and all that doesn't happen.
No, maybe that's her mom. What am I talking about? Probably her mom.
Just because we live in a diverse community does not mean that racism and all that doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, that's true. California, man. Growing up in Cali, yeah, we heard some very mean-spirited things having to do with race from time to time.
A high percentage of interracial couples have no idea.
I just like looking at them.
A high percentage of interracial couples have
His family. Look at that family. Good looking family.
no idea.
That's D.L. Hughley. Is that D.L. Hughley?
A high
Comedian?
percentage of interracial couples have
Yeah, that's like D.L. Hughley.
no idea what the experience is for this child that they brought into the world.
I would go to the park with.
What the experience is. Interracial couples have no idea what the experience is for this child that they brought into the world.
I mean, to a certain extent, yes, because every experience is different no matter what child you have. The thing about me, my friend, though, is I'm a mixed, quote unquote, mixed colored person. So I do have an idea, right, Ben? And this is the thing for you. I mean, take with it what you will, but you have the power to define who you are in the end or in the beginning, my friend.
I would go to the park with Kanani all the time, and the kids got in a little something, and the mother said to me, well, Pika, you know, it's because Kanani doesn't speak English. I had
What?
no idea that kids were given a lesson about race so young.
I told this story about my mom standing up for me and my black friends and myself at the park where some Mexican people were being bigoted, even though she's part Mexican herself. So me too. Yeah, people are wild, man.
I'm really proud of the current and future generation of mixed kids that are being loud and proud.
Our kids have been instruments of healing.
Is there anything you think us non-mixed race people need to know?
That's the that's the filmmakers, family.
Non-mixed race people need to know about mixed race people.
It's not being less of one culture. It's having the opportunity to have a deeper connection to more cultures.
Yeah, deeper connection to more culture. That's definitely an advantage.
If I asked you what ingredients to mix you up?
Black, Asian, and love. And a llama and a corgi.
Oh wow. That's a whole new another subject, right? A llama and a corgi, okay. Yeah, so that's that movie in HBO, the trailer for it. Came out about 2 years ago. So I'm sure you can find it if you have HBO Max or if you like to download stuff, pirate stuff. Love from Kentucky. What's going on, my friend? David Wayne in the building. Good to see you, brother. Yeah. Yeah, so when I'm watching that, what hit me the hardest is the part where the kids talk about having to be different versions of themselves depending on who they're around. Yeah. That part was yeah, I've been there. And that's real. That's also a mixed kid superpower. But one could see it as a lot of pressure too at times too. And when in the fact when you're growing up, you want to fit in, especially, right? As an adult as well, but it hits harder when you're a kid, you know. So this is why I'm intentional about helping my son know that you know, like I said, you have the power to define, and you don't have to shrink or change to fit in. You're 1,000% who you want to be, wherever you go. But with him, yeah, I mean, he looks like a unique Taiwanese person. This is an old picture of him, but yeah, he can pass for Taiwan, just Taiwanese and whatnot. But he knows he's American. He's original black, Mexican, Spanish, Taiwanese. He knows all that, right? Yeah, I love it too, Divine. You see it, yeah. But I wish someone would have told me that earlier too. I mean, you know, just be who you are, you know. Or it is like a superpower. Stop trying to like fit into other people's things so much. I mean, that's natural. We're always going to do that, but know that like those people are lucky to be with you because you're showing them a unique experience how you can be in both worlds. And I think this definitely connects with evolving your consciousness and growing it, right? Growing your awareness. Super cute, huh? Yeah. As a kid, I looked like that, and then we came here, right? And then my son, boom, yeah. So yeah, so expanding your consciousness, because being mixed equals learning to hold contradictions inside yourself. You know, having two ideas at the same time, right? And it's about realizing you don't have to choose one identity. You can hold all of them, right? It's up to you. Divine Sparks 313 says, I tell my nephew that he is a true warrior. Both of my nephews actually have supernatural healing. Indigo children, rainbow children, for sure. That's awesome. That you can tell them that, Auntie. They are real little superheroes here on Earth to do their work, and we're here to guide them, right? So they can do their work. Because they were on the other side not too long ago. So expand your consciousness.
Conscious and unconscious do not make a whole when one of them is suppressed. Primitive, unadapted among all when one of them is suppressed and injured by the other. If they must contend, let it at least be a fair fight with equal rights on both sides. Both are aspects of life. Carl Jung. In my previous video about the shadow, I've discussed the world of the unconscious and how we can recognize its manifestations in our behavior. According to Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, the ultimate self-realization is the integration of the unconscious into the conscious. This is called the individuation process. First of all, thank you Daniel for your generous PayPal donation, and thank you Matt and Seeking Spire for supporting me on Patreon. I appreciate it very much. Now let's dive in. The process of individuation is complicated. So for making this video, I've tried to simplify the information I found when studying it and combine it with a few observations. Before we get into the individuation process itself, it is essential to clarify the associated elements: the self, the ego, the persona, the conscious and unconscious, the shadow, and the anima and animus. Now, according to Jung, at the core of our personality, there's something called the self. The self is the totality of the conscious and unconscious. The problem, however, is that the vast majority of the self lies hidden in the unconscious. Part of that unconscious cannot be entered. There's a personal unconscious that consists of all information of an individual's mind which is not readily available, like repressed or forgotten memories about oneself or the environment. There's also a collective unconscious that is basically the same for all human beings, and is probably shared among all members of a same species. For example, dogs are collectively driven by the same instincts. The same is true for humans. Jung noticed that the human collective unconscious brings forth a series of archetypal figures as well, which are universal symbols that we see in mythologies all across the world. These archetypes tend to appear in dreams too. Examples of these are the hero, the trickster, the wise old man, the great mother, and even God. These figures are not fixed archetypes themselves, but rather representations of what lingers in the unconscious in an archaic language that most humans would recognize. I've called these motifs archetypes, and by this I mean forms or images of a collective nature which occur practically all over the earth as constituents of myths and at the same time as autochthonous individual products of unconscious origin, said Jung. Before we dive deeper into the unconscious, I would like to explore the four main elements that we'll find across the conscious and unconscious, which make up the psyche and thus form the self. These are the ego, the persona, the shadow, the anima or animus. The ego rests on the conscious as well as the unconscious, and is basically the story we tell ourselves about who we are, which is accumulated over the years by different experiences, but also a direct product of the realization that we are, in a way, separate from others. This realization happens in early childhood, when an infant starts to use the word I. That refers to the ego. The ego is the center of the field of consciousness, but not the center of the personality, since it is still subordinated to the self. The persona is the mask we wear in order order to conform to society. We could describe it as the societal role we quote-unquote wear in order to fit in, based on norms and ethics. An example is the definition of masculinity and femininity. What does it mean to be a man or a woman? Most cultures and subcultures propose certain criteria for this, and the persona is the product of us meeting these criteria to fit in. The persona is nothing more than a superficial construct of how we want the world to perceive us. The shadow lies in the unconscious and consists of undesirable characteristics that we have repressed and want to keep in the dark. This happens consciously as well as unconsciously. Jung stated that the less the shadow is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. I quote, "If the repressed tendencies, the shadow as I call them, were obviously evil, there would be no problem whatever. But the shadow is merely somewhat inferior, primitive, unadapted, and awkward, not wholly bad." Inferior, primitive, unadapted, and awkward, not wholly bad. It even contains childish or primitive qualities which would in a way vitalize and embellish human existence, but convention forbids. End quote. Many people aren't even aware that they have a shadow. When parts of it inevitably come to the surface, they tend to brush this off as something outside themselves. I've created a separate video about the shadow. You'll find a link at the top of the screen. According to Jung, in every male there's a female, and in every female there's a male, both hidden in the unconscious part of the psyche. This doesn't mean that we have completely separate human beings inside of us. Rather, it means that men possess characteristics that are classically considered feminine, and women possess characteristics that are classically considered masculine. Jung calls the feminine part of the male the anima, and the masculine part of the female the animus. Now we have created a map of the psyche according to the ideas of Jung. It's time to talk about the individuation process. Individuation is the integration of unconscious elements of the psyche, as far as this is possible, into the wholeness of the personality. Generally, this process goes naturally when we get older, but there's also the possibility to stimulate it by forms of intervention like therapy. This means that the ego should, first of all, acknowledge that it is not the center of the psyche and that a great part of who we truly are lurks in the darkness of the unconscious. But if If we understand anything of the unconscious, we know that it cannot be swallowed. We also know that it is dangerous to suppress it, because the unconscious is life, and this life turns against us if suppressed, as happens in neurosis, said Jung. So, making the unconscious conscious can never be done in its entirety, because there simply are areas of the psyche that we cannot enter. Part of the individuation process is the integration of the shadow. In a practical sense, this would mean that we should not only become aware of our dark side, we should incorporate it in our conscious personality as well. Exploring the unconscious means that we have to take certain elements of our personality to the surface that aren't pretty. As Jung stated, and I quote, "Individuation is an exceedingly difficult task. It always involves a conflict of duties, whose solution requires us to understand that our counter will is also an aspect of God's will." End quote. In other words, our dark side is as valuable as our light side. Another dimension is the confrontation with the contrasexual part of our psyche known as the anima or animus. In many cases, men have not incorporated their feminine aspects in a healthy way, and the same is true for women and their masculine aspects. Chances are high that we have repressed the masculine or feminine side of ourselves in its completeness, which is equivalent to throwing away the baby with the bathwater. The goal here is a healthy integration of the anima or animus, which will actually empower our personalities regardless of what sex we are. There's also the possibility of unhealthy integration, which manifests itself as harmful and negative aspects of the opposite sex. Therefore, toxic masculinity can very much be part of female behavior, and toxic femininity, something less talked about, can be part of male behavior. When it comes to individuation, there's no one size fits all. So it's up to the individual to bring forth the unconscious and decide the necessary steps. Because individuation is in essence a natural process, it cannot be forced within a certain time frame. Self-realization is something that can take a lifetime and very well may never be completed before we meet the grave. Thank you for watching.
Hello. Yeah. I was asking if you got, yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay, you can hear me. I was saying, can you put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me? So, yeah, so like I said, the message is Ben and friends, you don't need to be powerful. to fit in. It helps though, right? I want you to be a mogger, and you don't need a box to check to belong, be it mixed or colored or outside or foreigner. It's all good. It's all good, baby. You're already 1,000% you. So own it, grow from it, and guess what? It's the hero's journey you're on. All right. And we'll be back next time on Monday. Take a day off tomorrow, I think. Enjoy the family. So we'll be back on Monday on the astrology, daily astrology forecast. We'll talk about astrology and we'll talk about depth psychology and mixed identity and maybe even how your ancestral roots hold the key to your future. So hit that like, give a dono. Yeah. I didn't even see that, David. You said that. You hit that dono. You're working on a remodel, listening along in the comments. Yeah. Okay, Dave. I see. Yeah. One of these days, hop on again. We had fun talking, building and whatnot. Yeah. So as we go, don't forget, we love the.
Why don't you just take my blood?
Take it. Yeah. So hit that. Hit me up in the replay. Let me know what you think about the replay. You can always leave a comment in the. I love how people have been doing their. He's an archivist. Keeps me updated. Some of my other friends they let me know on the replay their thoughts about the broadcast. So be good to each other and all. And as always, stay mixed and colored. Stay powerful and conscious, family. We'll see you next time. NPC the game. I'll talk to you later. Love you, Ben.